Are you ready to grow the fuck up?
Hello and welcome back to Cinder and Salt. I am Christy Sturdivant,
And I'm Candace Bethel.
and we are hopping back on the emotional train and talking about, are we just really mad at ourselves?
I think we are. And
Mm.
I know we've been talking about emotions lately, but we've been doing it because from both of our understandings is people really don't understand their emotions. They know they have them, they know they feel them, and most of the time feel them really strongly. But like, why?
Ooh, it's so true. I literally just recorded a podcast on my personal channel about emotions and how important they are in co-creation. And I was like, wow, I really am just barely scratching the surface of this. And even when I was referencing our other podcast, weaponizing emotions, and when we were talking about it in human design, I said, whoa, there's just so many more avenues we can go down because emotions are so complex and so intertwined with each other that you can feel like 100 different emotions or just one. And then when you come back to it, you get upset at yourself, like, oh, I was so mad at myself because I reacted or responded this way. Yet again, what is still doing this? It's just like a big, hairy, nasty ball to untangle all the time.
Yeah, and when you're stuck in your emotions, oftentimes you're just being constantly triggered, which doesn't feel good, but it really truly is the key to get out of it. Because if
Mhm.
we're not leaning into those emotions, we're just letting them loop and loop and loop. And when we let them loop, our body starts holding on to them at a level of that, like, anytime we're around another person that has that emotion, we feel it, even if they're not experiencing that emotion at that point in time, because their body is holding the resonance of that emotion.
Yes. And when we are feeling those emotions and we are looping in those emotions, a lot of times our mind comes in and starts adding extra stuff to it, which kind of shifts our emotions, but then makes it more permanent inside our body. So it's super important to recognize your emotions and be aware of your emotions, but you got to release your emotions in some way. Otherwise, they're just going to will turn into a swampy, sticky mess inside of you, which is not good.
Yes, yes, um, and by releasing emotions, I don't mean yelling at people or, like, spewing your negativity out. I mean, like, doing some somatic work, journal about it, go take a walk, literally move your body and your energy so the emotion gets out, and start, like, asking yourself, where is this emotion coming from? Because if you do that, you will start being able to listen to your body, and your body will give you hits like, oh, it's coming from my shoulder, it's coming from my neck, it's coming from my head, it's coming from my stomach, my ankles, my feet, or whatever it is. Your body will start literally giving you signs, trying to create boundaries for you with your emotions, letting you know, hey, this emotion's coming from here. Like, why are you holding it there?
All right. I want to dive into the concept of emotional boundaries because it's huge and super important and very timely right now. But we're saving that for another episode because I do feel that we have to go back to some basics when it comes to emotions. So, when we are talking about emotions, we are getting emotions from a lot of different places. We tend to hold on to them. We get mad about it and mad at ourselves for doing that, and then we kind of just get stuck in this loop. So let's break it down and go back to some basics, okay? How does one know if it is their emotion versus another emotion? And I'm going to give you an example, okay? So a couple of weeks ago I was taking a class with Candace, and we were going through some exercises about vibrations and everything, and she said, "Where are you feeling this in your body?" And I was feeling it in my neck, and I was like, "Oh, I always feel the tension and like the pressure in my neck and back of my head and in my shoulders. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, of course, Christy. That's because you are feeling all of the collective stuff." And I was like, "Whoa, I never thought about that." But because of my human design, I do tend to feel a lot of that in me, but I never even really recognized it because maybe because I'm a defined emotional authority, right? And so I'm just like, well, of course I know that this is what I'm feeling. I don't really feel like maybe I am feeling any pressure or anything, but it never even crossed my mind that it could have been from an outside source. So let's first untangle, how do we know if it's ours versus not ours, Candace?
So when it's ours, the body actually feels pretty good. Like
Mm,
it feels open and receptive and kind of like a knowing, and it's like this like when it's not ours, whether you mentally feel pressure or not, your body is telling you you're holding on to something through tension, through pain, through illness, through injury, whatever it is, anything that's negative coming in is our body saying, hey, this isn't meant for us. An emotion or a sensation, either one. And I know that may sound like hard to process because maybe you just kind of are in this like lower vibration anyway, and these like joy and freedom and relaxation and calm doesn't even feel possible. But that's where we have to force it because that's where we're supposed to be. And if we don't take time to do that, the emotions come up first, very first. That's the first thing that comes up to tell us, hey, something is off. And it either comes in as anger, fear, anxiety, shame. I'm not good enough. Something like that. It comes in and it like almost collapses you. You're like, ah. And then we have to work through that collapse. And if you can just breathe into the back of the body when you're feeling that collapse, it gives you a little bit of like parasympathetic nervous system taking your power back. And it allows the body to be like, okay, maybe I can handle this.
that's very interesting. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that emotions that come in that are ours, whether they are positive or negative, which is all a perception anyway, right? It doesn't feel so terrible. But when they are not ours, it's almost like a foreign object in our body that our body is trying to expel. Is that
Correct. And it
okay?
actually comes in. So for open emotionals and defined emotionals, it's different too. So
Mhm.
for defined emotionals, you guys have this like kind of wave that you have to
Mhm.
write out. When something happens to you as a generator, we're here to respond. The defined emotionals respond, but they have to they know they're responding in their sacral, but then they have to go through their emotional wave. So you are going to feel your emotions really consistently. You're going to kind of know them, and you're going to even if you don't understand human design, like you could be like, oh yeah, I do kind of ride this wave. And maybe even in the beginning, like of your wave, you can be super triggered and not even know that you're in a wave yet. And that's where you would be weaponizing your emotions. Um and so you guys, your emotions are, think of like a heartbeat. They're kind of just more consistent like this. When you have an open emotional, I am open emotional, we feel the collective like all over us. So we are really meant to like feel those negative things and be like, oh, not mine. Anything that comes in as frustration, annoyance, and we're just like, oh my God, I did not have this feeling like a second ago or a minute ago. Like, why is it here now? Like, I was literally fine and now I'm not. That's not you. Those are the things that you have to be like, whoa, where did that come from? And if you, when you get good enough, you can scan a room and know exactly where that emotion came from. And so those open emotionals, we feel like other people's emotions like especially those emotional waves, stronger than they do. So they're coming in at us like really, really strong. How we know if an emotion is meant for us with the open emotionals, like if we're meant to like work through it instead of just being like, hey, y'all, not mine. It literally takes us down. Like we cannot function. It's like this full on, like full body, like I cannot function any longer. And it can take us down for a day or a couple of days. And even if you're really good at getting your energy back, only comes up like halfway and you're like, okay, I'm here to move through this. And that's kind of how like those two different emotionals like work. If those like resonate with you, but you don't know your human design, please reach out. We can help you. What do you have to
Yes.
add for that? Because you're a defined emotional, so you know how the defined works a lot more than I do. Oh, wait, sorry. Before I forget, those open emotionals, we have this off and on switch too. Like we want to help, we want to do, we want to go. But as soon as we see whatever we're doing is not helping in any aspect, it's like the light switch goes off. And we're like, sorry, your tone changes, your vibe changes. You just don't care anymore. Okay.
That
Now
is very
define.
interesting. That is very interesting. Okay. It what I'm thinking right now is when I was doing a human design conference, I was listening to a keynote speaker, and she said it was Karen Curry Parker, I believe, and she said that those people who have like defined in their human design chart, they already have like they know how to do this, right? Like this is their what curriculum, I think maybe she said, like this is what you are no, the undefined is the curriculum, but this is what you are here that you got locked down, right? And the undefined is the curriculum that you're here to learn, or vice versa. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
no, that's correct. The
That
undefined
is
is what we're
correct.
here to learn.
Okay, yes. And
Undefined is
so
we just know.
yes. And I think that with this defined and undefined, especially in the emotional center, because as humans, if you all think of us as just like aliens who came here to Earth, we want to feel these emotions, right? We actually really need each other, and it's very important to like figure out what we're doing with our emotions because as a defined emotional authority, I think that we are, as defined emotional authorities, we are very prone to weaponizing emotions because we feel them and then we want other people to feel them and then we are very pointed. And then if you have an open emotional authority, if you don't do your job, which is basically to call it out. Like if Candace and I are in our room and I am really feeling really, really angry and she can feel me being very, very angry, her job as this open emotional authority human is to say, Christy, why are you so angry? What's going on here? I can feel it, deal with it. That's her job. My job is to feel it, and her job is to call it out by feeling it too. We each have these jobs, and it's very important to at least know kind of what you are. Even if you don't know your human design, know where you are in this camp because it's going to help you move through your emotions easier. By her calling it out, I can be like, whoa, I had no idea I was angry. I don't know what I'm angry about. Let's unpack this.
Yeah,
It's
I do notice
important.
a lot of people don't realize how angry they are when they are going through their waves. They will often be like, I'm not angry. And I'm like, oh, you are definitely angry right now. And when we have those open emotionals, we feel it like 10 times stronger. So if we are having an emotion, like if we are attached to that emotion that they have, we will respond at their level and maybe further, and that's going to trigger them, but they're here to see that we're reflecting how they are behaving to them. And if we haven't gotten really good at regulating our emotions, it's really hard for us to like bring it down.
Mhm.
And so it's important for everybody to understand and regulate their emotions, because if you
Absolutely.
don't, we will be projecting on each other, in ways we're supposed to do, but it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't feel good at all. As I will say, my job as a defined emotional authority, I feel, is to be that I'm supposed to hold that space for you emotionally. If you are feeling all the emotions, I have a consistent sense of emotional energy, and I'm actually very good at this. I like really had to lean into the fact that I'm really good at this. But I can have people dump their emotions on me, and I can take it and I can listen, and then I can hold that space, and then I just drop it when I'm out of their space. It is not my job to hold on to anyone else's emotions. It is my job to listen and reflect back to the open emotional center so that they can understand and process as well. It's like this fine dance that we have with each other as these defined and undefined things. And it's important to be able to know, I think, what you are so that you can do that properly, right?
Correct. I have a question for you that I think I know the answer to, but I don't know that we've touched on it yet. When you are getting dumped on, when
Mhm.
people are just like spewing their emotions on you and you are here to hold that and it's like, hey, we can work through it. Um, do you feel triggered? Do you feel triggered by their emotions?
Sometimes I do feel triggered. Yeah, if it's
Okay.
stuff that I know that I have, like, that I have it has come up before, and I'm like, "Ooh, I know that's a trigger." I can still hold that space for them, but I can feel that trigger within me, and then I can, like, put that off to the side and do that. But there are some people that, people I've known for a long time or something, and if we are rehashing the same stuff over and over and over again, it's a little bit harder for me because it's conditioned in me to act a certain way, and so I do have to, like, be very conscious about programming that and, like, not holding on to those emotions, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And so I am also triggered, but when people are like spewing their emotions at me, and I have learned actually how to hold space for that. That's one of my one of my learnings on how to do, and I've gotten really good at it. But it is so triggering. It doesn't matter if that trigger is mine or not, or if I've experienced any of it. I'm feeling whatever like that person is feeling. And most of the time, they don't understand how intense they feel because it's something that they are just moving through all the time. But like, I'm vibrating sometimes, like just like this when before people even project their anger, I can feel it. So if you're open emotional, being in large like crowds is really hard. It doesn't mean you're an introvert. It just means that like it's really, really overwhelming being around a lot of people because you're taking on all those emotions and you're just like, oh God. And your throat and your chest and like your body literally wants to just hug you and you really feel like you're gonna shut down. So I know a lot of people that feel that way.
Yeah, and I think this comes back to the, are you just mad at yourself? I think it's really easy to take these on, especially when you go through this process of, like, untangling your subconscious and moving to this higher vibration. It's really easy to take those things on either as a defined or undefined and get mad at yourself and, like, turn it inward. But emotions don't have to be like that. Emotions don't have to be yours. They can be other people's, they can be collective, they can be a lot of things. It's how you handle it, and you can't internalize it. So,
No,
don't do
and
that.
one of my favorite things to say, because I know I'm coming from a place of like love and holding space. If you are not, then maybe this is not like the correct thing, but your response is not my responsibility. If I trigger you out of something that I said out of love and holding space, that trigger is literally for you to lean into and be like, oh, why did that show up for me? It has nothing to do with me at all. That trigger is yours and it's something you are mad at yourself about. You aren't mad at me. You can project all you want on me or anybody else, but you aren't mad at anybody else. That trigger is something you are mad at about yourself. And that's where you got to do the inner work with that.
Yes. Please do that. But it's very important to realize that a lot of it is you. Not all of it is you. You don't have to feel it, but the triggers are yours. And you don't actually have to, like, you know, deep dive. You need to deal with your triggers and everything, but it's not always about you. It's easy. I think it's easier for open emotional authorities to always feel like put upon? I don't know. Is that how you feel? Like where people are just like constantly like you're got emotions, you got to have them coming at you all the
I
time, right? And
um
so it's got to feel
yes.
terrible. It's got to feel
So
terrible.
it did. It used to feel really terrible. And but until did like literally until I started doing all of the work. Like now I know what emotions are mine and what are not.
Yeah.
And I get more annoyed when somebody's projecting their shit at me now because I'm like seriously, like go somewhere with that. It's not like none of that's mine. None of it's my business to even be around. And I kind of like dismiss them. I'm like, because I don't want to engage. Because as soon as I start engaging, now I'm coming basically down to their level instead of where I have learned to come and stay in my higher vibration. So, and that's why it's actually my open emotional is actually not one of my favorite parts of my human design because I truly understand that those emotions aren't mine anymore and I can let them go. But before, I was literally, why do I always feel this way? Like I was literally constantly asking myself why. And then because I hadn't learned how to clear at night, I would lay down and and it's not just we literally feel ourselves and our partners when we sleep. And so however your partner's sleeping too, like however they feel in their dream state, you're feeling that too. I literally would go down what I call the negative hole of hell. And it would just spiral down until I had to get up out of bed and like check myself because I wasn't gonna go to sleep. So yeah, like it is a lot taking it on, but once you realize you don't have to take it on anymore and those are meant for lessons for other people and you to understand your own energy, it's so liberating.
Yes, I imagine it would be. I imagine it'd be very liberating. And I think
Mhm.
it goes back to like energy itself, right? We are only in charge of our own energy. And so even if people are projecting or emoting or spewing their energy. I always tell my kids, I have one who well, we all have emotional authorities, but he rides a very intense wave like mine. And I'm like, I get that you're very emotional, but you're like a ketchup packet and you can't get that back in there. So quit spewing your ketchup everywhere. Okay.
I've not heard that one before. I love
Yeah.
it.
But it's accurate, isn't it? Like when you are
Yeah.
super emotional, you're just like, "Bleh!" Gag
Yeah.
everywhere.
Like
But when it comes
emotions
down to it,
first.
yeah, we can't change anyone else. Like if someone is coming into our energy and they're like, "You did this and blah 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 and I feel like this and blah 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 blah." When it comes down to it, you have to be so in your energy and like, "That's not mine. That's yours that you have to deal with." And it seems very inconsiderate and maybe you are being harsh. Maybe you think that you are hurting their feelings, but it's not. That's like all on them. You cannot absorb that. No good.
Yeah, and that's true, and I had a conversation recently where this happened in my space, and, I put a boundary up, and I was like, "Well, let's clear it right now." And they're like, "Well, I don't want to because it feels forced." And I'm like, "Well, this argument is pretty forced right now too, so it goes both ways." And so, like, when you come in with an energy that's not good, you are literally expecting anybody and everybody around you to cater to you. You are acting like a victim in your emotions, and you're like, I can't handle anything, so everybody around me has to handle it for me. And that's really fucking childish. Sorry, but it is.
Yeah, it is. And that's what we're going to end on because next week we're going to be talking about emotional boundaries, which is not going to be a super happy conversation either because a lot of people don't have them.
That's okay. We all need to grow the fuck up.
And on that, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.